Thomas Gottstein, thank you so much for speaking to Bloomberg TV. We're looking at many more restrictions, possible lockdowns across Europe and other parts of the world. What kind of impact will that have on clients and markets going forward?
Yeah, we see it here in Switzerland. We see it all over Europe. Lockdowns are unfortunately a topic again. I think in most countries, actually, there will not be a hard lockdown like we had it in April, but the impact on economy is certainly not going to be great. But on the other hand, in most jurisdictions, including here in Switzerland, for example, people are very much focused to keep restaurants open, to keep stores open. So it's a bit too early to say. Obviously, we are prepared for it, but it on one side actually means more volatility in the market, which is not necessarily bad for our trading business. Clients are in demand for financing, be it on the lending side, be it in capital markets. So we're here for our clients, and I also expect some of portfolio rotation within our private banking mandates. We have to go through this crisis together with our clients and our employees, and hopefully we come out of it stronger.
Do you worry about the level of volatility we could see in coming weeks, given the lockdowns and given the US election? That could be very uncertain.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm worried, but it is at the same time also an opportunity for our market-making businesses. But there certainly will be a volatile period between now and year-end.
Related to the restrictions or the lockdowns, it seems that people's motivation are trailing off somewhat. How do you address that with employees?
Yeah, it's important to keep communication up and running. We have a lot of Zoom calls, we have a lot of email conversations and communications, so it's very important to keep people motivated. Here in Switzerland now, we have a recommendation for people to stay home again. So this is very important that we keep motivation up. It's not always easy. I prefer people to be in the office, but overall, our employees are doing a fantastic job and they are fully committed.
You've also resumed the share buyback, which no doubt a lot of investors will be pleased about. Is there a risk that you have to scale it back because of these extra lockdowns or extra uncertainty on the economy?
Well, just to be clear, we have not resumed it yet. We announced that we would resume it in the new year. Look, we have a 13% CET1 ratio, which is one of the strongest we've had in many quarters. And we have high profitability, 10% ROTE in the first 9 months. So we feel that we should resume our share buyback in the new year. And hopefully this will be well received by the market.
And this is despite, no matter what happens to the economy, or is there a contingent?
There's always a contingency, but we are very determined to do it. And unless there are any really bad surprises, we expect to start the share buyback in January.
Thomas Gottstein, what can you tell us about your thinking around asset management and how you want to revamp it?
Look, asset management had a fantastic run. If you look at PTI growth or at AUM growth in the mid to high teens over the last 4 years, 2/3 of our strategies are in alternatives and alternative-led, and 1/3 in more index funds and traditional funds. The third quarter was somewhat marked with certain investment losses. But overall, I'm convinced we have the right strategy, and Eric Ravel and the team are doing a great job.
Would you, in principle, be open to selling a stake in asset management if it opened up opportunities for it?
This is not a topic at the moment.
What does it mean for how you focus on cost cuts going forward and where you want to grow regionally in asset management?
Look, we have also in asset management done some restructuring, but I mean, the bigger picture is that we announced with the second quarter results 4 initiatives. One in investment banking by combining the investment bank. Secondly, by combining risk and compliance. Thirdly, the introduction of SRI, Sustainability Research and Investment Solution, as an EXP function. And fourthly, the integration of NAB here in Switzerland. And this has now in the short term resulted in some restructuring costs, but it positions us very well for the 2021-22 period.
So how many positions are you expecting to go because of the merger between the investment bank and the risk and compliance unit?
I don't really think in number of people, because there will be a lot of investment in new initiatives. But we did guide the market that we expect to have at least 400 to 450 million of recurring cost benefits from these measures, which we expect to reinvest in growth, be it in China and Asia, be it in sustainability, be it in digitalization.
What will compensation and the bonus pool look like?
It's too early to say that. Look, we have to decide that as we move closer to the end of the fourth quarter. But clearly, it's a balancing act between, on one side, very strong performances, and on the other hand, we feel our solidarity and social responsibility, and we will make those decisions at the end of the fourth quarter.
But do you? I don't know if you worry about it, or how much do you think about being competitive, given what some of your rivals in the last couple of days has said about compensation and talent pool?
Look, I think we have a fantastic franchise. We have a great hiring momentum, be it in international wealth management, be it in other areas in investment banking. So Credit Suisse is an attractive employer, and I'm not worried about that.
Competition to recruit diverse talent is really heating up, and we've heard that from a number of banks. Does the negative press around the departure of your predecessor make it more difficult for Credit Suisse to attract a diverse talent pool?
Look, diversity and inclusion is very important to me personally, and we have set new targets. We want to double our black talent on the senior levels and want to increase the overall black talent population by 50%, both over the next 3 years. So it's something we are very focused on.
What would you say to an aspiring person from a minority group who wants to join banking and is thinking about joining Credit Suisse?
Look, we were one of the first large European banks, if not the first one, to have had the black CEO. We are fully committed to diversity and inclusion, and everybody's proud to work at Credit Suisse.
How do you keep top performers during a pandemic?
Look, you have to pay them competitively. We are in a competitive market, but at the same time, you need to have a strong culture. You need to be there for our employees. And I had fantastic feedbacks how we treated our employees during this pandemic. We had special generous facilities for our employees, for example, who have children and with schools closed, etc. So we have had 92% approval rate internally in a survey, and they are very happy with Credit Suisse as an employer.
Thomas, can you just update us on the regulator's probe into the spying scandal? I know you had said before that it may affect how you communicate in the bank over WhatsApp. Have you taken a decision on that yet?
No, we are still finalizing the discussion with the regulator, and hopefully we can come to a conclusion very soon.
Thomas Gottstein, how do you plan to, take care of declining margins in wealth management?
Actually, if you look at our gross margin on an adjusted basis, we have probably had one of the most stable gross margins of all reporting entities so far, thanks to very strong transactional revenues. And on a relative basis, less exposure to US interest rates. Our net interest margin has been somewhat under pressure, but probably less than some of our competitors. So obviously we are planning to continue to drive our loan volume growth, and we are driving other client business volume metrics like assets under management, assets under custody. But overall, I've been very happy with our gross margin development. And I'm, confident that we will strengthen our top line. If you look in Asia, for example, our franchise revenues are up 29% in Swiss francs, and in dollars, it's closer to 40%. So we have strong growth across the board, and I'm very confident.
Thomas Gottstein, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you, Francine. Thank you.